The next step of the truth principle is the U step, the underlying idols. Now, we're not so used to talking about idolatry here in this culture, but God speaks so much about the idols of our heart. I think it's really important to name it for what it is. As human beings, we are worshipers. I had one man in my counseling practice say to me, well, Leslie, I'm not really into worship. And what he meant was he wasn't really into going to church and singing hymns or even contemporary worship. But he was definitely a worshiper because God has called us all. He's created us all to be worshipers. And if it's not God we're worshiping other things. God says, I want you to love me with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, all your strength. I want you to put me first. And I find in my own life, it's not so much what I love that gets me in trouble. It's that I love it more than I love anything else. I love it too much. And it becomes idolatrous in my life. A while back, I was speaking on one of my books at a marriage retreat called How to Act Right When Your Spouse Acts Wrong at Sandy Cove. And during the break, the husband went to the bathroom, so the wife came running up to me and saying, okay, let me tell you what my husband does, and you can tell me what I can do to act right when he acts wrong. She said, generally, he's a good guy, but he has one habit that's driving me crazy. He borrows my car, uses all the gas, brings it back on empty, and then I have to get up in the morning, my gas tank's on empty, I have to get money, I have to go get gas, and it drives me nuts that he's just so inconsiderate. I've tried talking to him, and he just tells me he forgets. I've tried praying for him, doesn't work. I've tried praying that God would stretch the gas in the gas tank, and that didn't work. So, Miss Counselor, how am I supposed to act right when my spouse acts wrong? So I suggested to her that if her efforts to talk with her husband about this have fallen on deaf ears for now, that another approach, not the only approach, but another approach would simply be to accept that he isn't going to change right now and to wake up earlier so that she has enough time to get gas herself. She looked at me like I had lost my mind. And she said, well, that's not fair. Why should I have to do it? Now hear me. She's right. It's not fair. And she is not wrong for desiring consideration and fairness in her marriage. But she is deceived if she thinks she has to have it in order for her to respond as Jesus would call her to. You see, then her legitimate desire for consideration and fairness is ruling her life, not to mention her emotions. And Jesus says he wants the love of Christ to control us, not our other desires, even if they're legitimate and good ones.